One of the key mechanical principles to lean production is smoothing production. Now, if you happen to make several different products, smoothing production isn't always easy. That is essentially the point of this Belmont scenario. Let's look. The Belmont company must produce 1,500 boxes of product A each year. Okay, 20,000 boxes of product B and 500 boxes of product C. So I see 3 different products of which the overall annual demand is 3 different amounts. Fine. The Belmont company works 250 days a year. All right, so we know a little bit about their year, and it can make a total of 16 boxes of product a day, any mix of products A, B, and C. I might want to note that to the side here because that is a production rate. 16 a day. Good to know. All right, now what else? In the past, Belmont would spend the first of the year producing product A, then producing just product B, and then just product C. However, the president of Belmont's decided that the company should follow the principles of lean operation, including smoothing production of demand requirements of these 3 products into mixed model scheduling. Yes. Okay, in lean operations and mixed model scheduling, if you happen to make several different things, you want to make basically the same amount every day. But wait a minute. What is the first question in this particular scenario? When Belmont uses its traditional schedule, all right, that's the one they were talking about they did before, how many days does it spend producing product A at the beginning of the year? Also known as the, good vocabulary term, runtime. Because in their traditional schedule they make 1,500 boxes of A year. Which means in their traditional schedule they make 1,500 boxes of A at the beginning of the year. What is the runtime on that order size? Now, runtime actually has a formula associated with it. It's pretty simple. To calculate the runtime of any order size Q, right, you just divide it by its logic, divided by the production rate. Now, they were asking about A, right? So why don't we get organized here? Let's see, product could be a column. A, runtime. Well, they need to produce 15,000, correct? Or excuse me, 1,500. 1,500, correct. We know that they can produce 16 boxes a day. So 1,500 divided by 16 on my calculator, I see 93.75, and that's time, days. So in their traditional schedule where they spend the first part of the year making just boxes of product A, they spend 93 3/4 working days doing just that. Now wait. This question actually asked about all 3 products. We just did that part right there. When it switches then to product B, how many days does it spend producing B? All right, B you need to produce more. It said 2,000 overall a year. It's the same production rate though of 16. So I see on my calculator 125, which is to say, okay, then they spend 125 days producing B, and then C, because it asks about C also, you only need 500 a year. It's the same production rate, 16 a day. Okay, so that means 31.25. Now we picked up that other quarter of a day, I see, that we lacked in the runtime of A. Okay, here's the actual answer to this question. This is what their year looks like under their traditional schedule. This is how long they spend on each one of the products. All right, now, note, that is not smoothing production. That is a traditional approach. The next question is more from the president's standpoint. If Belmont implements a perfectly smooth, see that's what the president was proposing, mixed model schedule, it will produce the same mix of 3 products every day. Oh, and this is just a nice little fact. We would already know that from the fact that we know what mixed model scheduling is. It means you always produce the same amount every day. How many of each product should be in this daily mix? Okay, well, once again, it might help to kind of just like work with this table style. For instance, there's this product A. Now we're trying to figure out how many boxes of product A should be in the daily mix if in fact you produce the same mix every day. Here's how we do it. We say, well, the target is 1,500 a year, correct? We want them to produce the same amount of A every day. So if they're working 200, that's where we were going to use that fact. It said they were open 250 working days of the year. If you take the 1,500 and you divide the 250 into it, it reveals that they need to make 6 per day. They need to make 6 per day in order to hit their target of 1,500 over the course of the entire year while always making the same amount every day. All right, now that's just A. It was asking about the mix, A through C. So with B, the target is different. They need to make a total of 2,000 over the course of the year, but it's the same 250 working days, so they need to make somewhat more per day. I get 8 per day, whereas for C, they only need to make 500 over the course of a year. It's the same 250 working days. To do that, do remember to make 2 boxes of C each day. Now, this is the daily mix that the president would like to see in order to implement mixed model scheduling. Except we're not completely finished with this. Well, you can see that there's another question. Ideally, what would the order, or excuse me, ideally in what order should this new daily mix, meaning this that we found right here, be completed during the day? You say, huh? Okay. Do you remember their traditional schedule? In their traditional schedule, there's A, B, and C, and they just made A, and then they just made B, and then they just made C for the year. That's how they did their yearly calendar. And we said, oh, no. It would be much better if you make the same mix every day. So every day make 6A, make 8B, and make 2C. We've already done this. We determined this, right? This third question is asking you to not treat the day like they used to treat the year. We're recommending 6 per day, but ideally in the spirit of lean production and perfectly smooth scheduling, they wouldn't make the 6 boxes of A in the morning and then switch to B in the middle of the day and then finish out the end of the day by making those 2 boxes of C. And you say, well, then what would they do? They would try to, within the day, do the same thing that we just did with the year and figure out a way to smooth it so that we sort of keep mixing it up throughout the day. You say, well, how am I supposed to do that? Well, you know what? There's not an exact technique for this. There are some advanced techniques for this for much more complicated problems with many different products. But at this level, we can rely on our intelligence to break this problem down. And then maybe remember there are kind of a couple tips for coming up with a mixed model schedule. Now, what are the tips? First off, common denominators. Here is the mix, the overall mix, and we want to figure out the absolute smoothest pattern that is as mixed up within the pattern as possible. Look for common denominators. I see a common denominator here of 2. Well, what am I supposed to do with that? Well, the first thing I would do is I would split the day in half. I'm taking the 2, right, and I'm using it to divide the day in half. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, if you divided the day in half in the spirit of mixed model assembly, that means that you'd make 3 A's in the morning, 4 B's in the morning, and a C, right? I'm just taking half of each of these, and then there'd be a lunch break, and then you'd make 3 A's, 4 B's, and a C over the course of the afternoon. Oh, all right, now, wait a minute. That is a proposal. That's actually, though, not a really good proposal for perfectly smooth scheduling. Now, what else can we do? Well, here we're just using our intelligence, and you can come up with a couple different patterns, but a good pattern, it will be as mixed up as possible, and now at least we're working with 2 smaller problems. So, look at the smaller problem, half a day. One of the things that I notice is that we have more B's than we have A's. So, oh, this is another tip. We've got kind of like near equal amounts of 2 things, so it kind of suggests maybe you go, how about this, then that, then this, then that, then this, then that, you know, to spread them out. If we have slightly more of B's, I think we should start with B's. Now I'm going to piece together an actual sequence. For the day, start by making a B, then make an A, then make a B, then a box of A, then a box of B, then a box of A, let's see, then a box of B. Whoops! So 1, 2, 3 A's, good, that's done. Then 1, 2, 3, 4 B's, good, that's done. And then a C. Oh, all right. Now, that's just up to lunchtime. Now repeat. A B, an A, a B, an A, a B, an A, another B, and then a C. There we go. That is this part of it. A nice, smooth, mixed model sequence, right? What are we trying to do? We're trying to get all the clumps out as much as possible. Within the day, we're trying to mix things up. And this is a pretty smooth sequence. There are a few variants on this sequence that you might have come up with, but look and see if your sequence basically exhibits that same feature of it's as mixed up as possible across the day.